I want to begin by thanking each of you for taking the time to read this. Your willingness to share my journey fills me with gratitude, and I hope my story stirs something in you as deeply as it has reshaped me. I never imagined I'd find myself at such a turning point, laying bare a chapter so raw and life-altering. For years, I believed my marriage was unshakable, built on sacrifice, shared hardships, sleepless nights, and loyalty. I thought our bond was ironclad, that nothing could break it. I was wrong. The cracks appeared quietly. My wife began working late, always citing urgent projects. I admired her drive, so I trusted her without hesitation. But as weeks turned into months, the signs grew harder to ignore. Her phone was constantly silenced, messages hidden, calls taken in hushed tones from another room. My instinct sounded the alarm long before I was ready to face the truth. She was being unfaithful. That truth struck me one evening when I decided to surprise her with dinner at the office. Instead of finding her buried in paperwork, I found her in the parking lot, leaning against her boss's car, laughing in a way I hadn't seen in years. And then he kissed her. She didn't pull away. The pain of that moment can't be fully captured, like a knife twisting deep inside. A decade of trust, love, and commitment collapsed in seconds. I didn't confront them. I drove home in silence, hands trembling on the wheel, my chest burning with betrayal and rage. When she returned later that night, she looked me straight in the eyes and fed me a story about a grueling day at work. That lie hurt more than the kiss. It told me she had chosen deception over honesty. I didn't scream. I didn't reveal what I had seen. Instead, I began quietly planning my next steps. If she believed she could betray me without consequence, she had miscalculated. But fate had a plan of its own. Her boss had a daughter. Let's call her Elise, someone I had met briefly at company events. She was striking, confident, and nothing like her father. What stood out most was her disdain for him, his arrogance, hypocrisy, and obsession with control. Weeks later, I crossed paths with Elise at a quiet cafe. She noticed the exhaustion on my face and asked softly, "Rough day?" I almost laughed at the understatement. I didn't share everything, but I revealed enough that my wife was no longer the woman I thought I knew. Her expression hardened. "I'm guessing my father's involved," she said quietly. That moment changed everything. She despised her father for the same man I now hated. Two broken souls, connected by betrayal. Our conversations became a refuge. We spent hours unpacking the pain of deception, the fragility of trust, and the scars left by those closest to us. Slowly, something deeper formed. Elise's compassion reminded me of my worth. At a time when I felt invisible, she made me realize I wasn't just a fool my wife's choices painted me to be. Eventually, our connection crossed into something more. It wasn't born of passion, but of shared wounds that had grown into a profound bond. Elise became my solace, and I became hers. She longed to stand against her father, and I wanted justice for betrayal I had endured. Together, we found a way. I didn't keep our relationship hidden. I made sure my wife discovered it. One evening, I left my phone unlocked on the counter, messages from Elise clearly visible. When my wife saw, her face went pale. "You're with her?" she cried. For the first time in months, I met her eyes with absolute resolve. "I just followed the path you set for us," I said. The fallout was immediate. She ran to her boss, sobbing, and when he realized it was his own daughter, his world collapsed. Their affair ended on the spot. My wife was left disgraced. Her boss, undone. Elise, on the other hand, found freedom. She told me she had never stood up to him so boldly before. My wife begged for forgiveness, insisting the affair was a mistake, promising to rebuild what we had. But I was finished. Trust, once broken, rarely mends. I filed for divorce. Her boss tried intimidation, throwing threats my way, but it was useless. The truth was already out, spreading through their social circle. Everyone knew. His daughter had exposed him. His career and reputation crumbled. My wife, abandoned by the man she risked everything for, was left utterly alone. As for me, I didn't rush into happiness or a new romance. For the first time in years, I was steering my own life. Betrayal had broken me, but it also rebuilt me, stronger, wiser, determined never to accept less than I deserve. People say two wrongs don't make a right, and maybe they're correct. But when someone betrays you, sometimes the most powerful response isn't rage or violence. It's truth. Truth that dismantles their world while you walk away free. My wife's affair with her boss led me to his daughter. And when it all came crashing down, they were left in ruins while I reclaimed my freedom. The last time I saw my wife, she stood on the porch of our old home, eyes swollen with tears, whispering, "Please, don't leave me like this. We can fix it." But I didn't see the woman I once loved. I saw the woman who destroyed everything we had. Every lie, every false smile, every late night she claimed was work flashed through my mind. I realized her regret wasn't born of love. It was born of being exposed. Her boss avoided me after that, ashamed, though once he called, blaming me for ruining his family. But we both knew the truth. He ruined mine first. And when Elise stood against him, he finally saw how fragile his empire really was. Elise and I didn't remain together, but we stayed friends. She told me I gave her the strength to stand up to her father, and that was enough. The true victory wasn't our connection. It was surviving the wreckage stronger, while they were left to face the consequences of their choices. And so, I end where I began, with gratitude. Thank you for reading this story, for giving your time and empathy. It means more than words could ever express.